The safe was gone, and so was she. My room looked the same, yet nothing felt familiar anymore. On my neatly made bed, where silence usually waited for me, there was only a single torn page from my own notebook. Her handwriting was sharp, pressed hard into the paper like every word carried the weight of her resentment. "I've invested too much money in you," it read, "so I have the right to take it back." I stood there for a long time, holding the note in my hands. My face didn't move, my fingers didn't shake, but inside, a storm I had been carrying for years cracked open. The empty patch of carpet where the safe used to sit gaped back at me like an open grave. She thought she had stolen $400,000. What she didn't realize was that she had just buried herself. But it wasn't always like this. It wasn't always war between us. Growing up, all I wanted was her approval. That was it. I thought if I followed the rules, if I stayed in line, maybe she would finally look at me with pride instead of disappointment. So I gave her what she wanted. Straight A's. No drinking, no rebellion. I never skipped class. I never stayed out too late. I never gave her a reason to point a finger at me. I thought discipline would earn me love. I thought obedience would bring me comfort. She called it parenting. I called it debt. "You wouldn't even be here without me," she used to remind me. "I gave up everything for you." The way she said it was never soft, never gentle. It was an invoice, a reminder that I owed her, that love was never free. With her, love was conditional, sacrificial, transactional, and the price was always me. As I grew older, I learned how heavy that price was. I worked for scholarships, grinding through classes most kids dropped out of. I picked up 2 jobs at a time, saving scraps while my friends went on vacations I could never dream of. I never asked for handouts. I never expected a gift. Every small achievement I earned was meant to pay down the debt she claimed I owed. But no matter how much I paid, she always wanted more. Whenever I managed to save a little money, she asked, "What for?" Whenever I said no to her requests, she whispered, "After all I've done for you." If I treated myself to something small, she accused me of wasting what should have been hers. It took me years to realize she didn't raise a child. She raised a vault she thought she could crack whenever she pleased. And then, one day, I told her about the safe. It was an accident, or maybe it wasn't. Maybe a part of me wanted to see what she would do. She was in the kitchen, the same way she always was, stirring sugar into her tea. 3 loud clinks, then a slow spin of the spoon, her ritual for as long as I could remember. I said it casually, pretending like it didn't matter. "Finally hit 400 grand, I told her, all locked up in the safe. Her hand paused mid-stir, just for a second. But that was all I needed. That pause told me everything. I saw the flicker in her eyes, the faint curl of her lips as if she were already planning. From that day, her voice changed. Her smile became forced. She started taking phone calls in private. She lingered by my bedroom door, pretending to clean, pretending to care. But I knew. I always knew. And then, one night, she was gone, and so was the safe. But what she didn't know was that the safe was never about the money. Months before, I had already moved the real funds. Quietly, digitally, diversified into accounts she couldn't even imagine existed. The safe was bait. Inside, it wasn't wealth. It was a single stack of fake bills, rubber banded together, hollow, empty, and a GPS tracker tucked neatly in between. I had grown tired of her manipulations. The guilt trips, the late-night calls, where she pretended to be sick just to ask for a little more help. The time she opened a credit card in my name and then blamed me for leaving paperwork out. I needed to know how far she was willing to go. So I gave her the chance. The tracker pinged, an abandoned garage 2 towns over. When I arrived, she was already gone. But the safe sat there in the back of a rusted truck, its biometric lock cracked open, gutted. The fake bills lay scattered on the floor like confetti after a party that should have never happened. And there, on the floorboard, was her phone, still logged in, still syncing to the cloud. And inside that phone was everything. Text messages to a man named Doug, messages dripping with bitterness. "I'll finally get paid back for raising that ungrateful brat," she wrote. Screenshots of my bank apps stolen from when I left my phone unlocked. Photos of my bedroom, my safe, my ID cards. And then, a voice memo. Her voice rehearsing a story about how I'd gone missing, how she would need emergency access to my funds. My stomach twisted when I heard it. She wasn't just trying to steal from me. She was planning to erase me. For a long time, I sat there in the dark garage, listening to her words echo in my ears. The betrayal was sharp, but it wasn't surprising. Maybe I had been waiting for this moment my whole life. Maybe deep down, I always knew. So I went silent. I let her believe she had won. While she thought she was celebrating her victory, I filed identity theft charges. I locked her out of every account, every credit line, every resource she had ever touched. Then I emailed every relative, every friend who thought she was just a loving mother. I attached the voice memo. The mask she had worn for decades slipped away in seconds. 3 days later, she came back. She knocked on my door like nothing had happened. Her smile was hollow, her eyes frantic, darting like a cornered animal. "Let's talk," she said. I stepped aside, let her walk in. She froze when she saw the safe back where it belonged, sitting wide open and empty, mocking her. She looked at me. "I made a mistake," she whispered. I stared back. "No, you made a choice." Then I handed her the letter from my attorney. Restraining order, full documentation, pending lawsuit. Her face drained of color. "You're going to throw away your own mother?" she asked, her voice breaking. I nodded once. "You already did." She stepped back, something inside her crumbling, and I closed the door. That was 6 months ago. The lawsuit is still ongoing. She tried to spin her own version of events, claimed I forged the audio, said she feared for my mental health. She weaved lies, but they didn't work. Not against the paper trail, not against the photos, not against the truth. People say revenge is loud, but mine wasn't. Mine was silent, legal, surgical. She thought she took my money, but what she really took was the final mask off her face, and honestly, that was worth more than every cent.